Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 234 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on October 23rd, 2024. How are all you folks doing on this wonderful fall day? Yeah, I hope you're doing well. I'm doing well. I'm also in a whirlwind of things right now. Yeah, two very large projects this week. They forced me to postpone this episode. Yeah, I had to postpone the episode and the publications for a day. So thanks for your patience. I know we kind of got in a rhythm there, but got to keep you on your toes. No, I think it's going to be worth it, though, the wait. There's a lot for you guys to dig into today. Today with this episode, we're publishing 3 articles. The first 2 articles are on the HUXWRX Flow-556 Ti. Okay, that's the full-size dedicated 556 silencer from HUXWRX. You will get to see it on the Mark 18. And also the mid-length gas 14.5-inch M4. Okay, so the third article we're publishing today is a members-only research supplement, and boy is it topical. Yeah, so what we did is we put all of these new whiz-bang low back pressure rifle silencers against each other, head-to-head, in the most comprehensive 556 low back pressure signature analysis, I think, that has ever been done. And so if you have ever been told low back pressure silencers are loud, you probably want to read the article. It's important. And the amount of real information available to you in this research is staggering. I implore you, if you have a vested interest in how this technology works, or any products that use it, I really think it's worth checking out. Okay, so as a result of all of this, it's a very packed episode today. So first up, we're going to hit topics on the off-grid Trident TI and Operator TI. Remember those from last week? Yeah, those hybrid technology direct thread rifle silencers. Yeah, we published reports on those last week. So we'll hit the technical discussions today first. And then we'll hit the 3 intro topics for the 3 publications that you're getting today. Okay, so then next week we'll be back and we'll hit the technical deep dives on the Flow 556 Ti. That way we can kind of be like, okay, kind of breathe a little bit and say, okay, even though we'll have 3 technical deep dives to do, it'll be on one silencer, so it'll be less crazy. Okay, sound good? I know this is a lot, but I told you October was going to be nuts. This fourth quarter, right? And we're not even done after this. And I'm telling you, I would not lie. Let's get on with the show. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. We're glad to have you. There are timestamps in the episode description for you to skip to wherever you would like in the episode, especially today when you have 5 topics. But you know what? If you want to hang around with me a little longer, I'm going to quickly speak to you about the companies who make this podcast possible. Okay? This podcast is sponsored by Legion Athletics, because nothing you do, exercise, sports, any really awesome activity is worth doing without consistency, right? You have to do things all the time if you want to be good at them. And Legion Athletics can help you with that. They have whey protein, pre-workout, post-workout, creatine, vitamins, minerals, all kinds of different supplements to keep you going. They probably don't have everything you need, but they do have a lot of it. Okay? Visit legionathletics.com. There's a link in the show notes. Use code word PewScience to save 20% off of your first order, which is actually a lot of money if you're serious about this type of stuff. If you keep using that code, every time you buy something, you'll get points, and you can redeem those for discounts, which really ends up netting you a 10% off forever, because you're going to keep buying stuff from there because, frankly, you're going to use it. And if you are serious about fitness and you're buying supplements, you have a routine, and saving money through the stuff you're already buying is like a no-brainer. So that's why we did it for the podcast. Hope it helps. The podcast is also brought to you by Silencer Shop. Do you know who they are? Just some little company? No. They've done a lot for all of this, right? They've done a lot not only for consumers in the industry, tons of dealers, large and small nationwide use them. If you're a new dealer looking to get started in the space, maybe you can't hold a lot of inventory, maybe you want to maintain low overhead, Silencer Shop, they might be able to help you out. On the consumer side, their kiosk is pretty cool. You can do your fingerprints and photos electronically. You cut down on errors. You simplify your silencer purchasing process. You get a money-back guarantee. It's pretty good. You don't pay any transfer fees. You don't have any paperwork errors. It's just you and your silencer with no drama. So you have silencer ownership simplified, which is great. And speaking of silencer dealers, the podcast is also sponsored by Top Gun Range, Houston, H-Town. Yeah, 713. Well, now what is it? 713-210-832. There's all kinds of area codes now, but back in the day, it was 713 only. 281. 281 was in there. Yeah, I think 713 was like the OG. If you're in the Houston area, even if you're just visiting, they're worth checking out. In addition to having a 15-lane indoor range, they have the largest firearm rental fleet in the state of Texas. You can rent pistols and rifles and shotguns, and that's right, you guessed it, machine guns. You can check out their firearm rental inventory on their website at topgunrange.com. You can also find them on Instagram at Top Gun Range. And one cool thing about Top Gun is that you can rent silencers there now. So you rent all these guns, you can rent the silencers, you put them on the guns, you test them out. It's awesome. Okay, go check them out. Colin and his crew are great. The podcast is also sponsored by Capital Armory. You noticing a theme? Right now, guys, silencer approval times are like moving super fast. Silencers in super high demand. If you're a consumer, you need options. Capital Armory is another place to buy. I can tell you right now, they have a really unique twist on it. Not only do they have a large selection of silencers and they help you with the paperwork, which is a pain in the butt, they can actually ship the silencer directly to you. If you live in one of the 42 states where silencers are legal, you can order a silencer in your living room and have it delivered to that same living room. It's really that easy. Capital Armory, silencer shipped directly to your door. And continuing this weird theme here, this podcast is brought to you by Pew Science. That's right. It's the Pew Science Laboratory. I'm the technical director of the lab, and in the interest of public education, we sponsor this podcast every week, and we run a public research effort with the hopes that we can continue to push the silencer industry forward one test at a time. You can visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating. It's the simplest and most accurate hearing safe rating for your suppressed small arms. It's based on true human inner ear response of the entire gunshot from before the combustion takes place all the way until all the combustion is gone. And Pew Science is the home of the silencer sound standard. There are 7 sections. It's the most in-depth and accurate silencer data and analysis in the entire world, and it's all available to the public 24/7 at pewscience.com. And how do we even do this? How are we able to do this podcast every week and publish the research we're publishing today for you time after time, almost 5 years running? It's because you listening, you can support this podcast. You can support all the research that we do by joining with a membership on our website at pewscience.com. There's also a donate feature if you want to give a little bit more, or if you just want to give some and just like every once in a while. Or you know what? What if you don't want to give anything? What if you don't want to spend any money at all and you just want to read stuff? That's cool too. You can do that. But I would ask, if you enjoy this and you get something out of it, tell your friends. Like and subscribe on the YouTubes or the Instagrams or the Spotifys or the iTunes or wherever you're getting the podcast, wherever you're getting our data. Like, share it, subscribe to it, spread the word. Let's help normalize the use of suppressed small arms. Write some good reviews, give us some love on the internet, stuff like that. All right, got 5 topics for you today. There's so many. Okay, I'm going to go through these quickly so we can get to them. Topic 1. Sound Signature Review 6165. That's the off-grid suppressors Trident TI on 308 bolt gun. That's the technical talk. Topic 2. Review 6166. That's the off-grid operator TI on the Mark 18. Technical discussion. Topic 3. Article 6167. The HUXWRX Flow-556 TI on the Mark 18. Yet another silencer in the HUXWRX Flow-Through series. Okay, that is going to be the introductory discussion for that article because it's published today with this episode. Then topic 4, we took the same silencer off of the 10.3-inch barrel Mark 18. We put it on the 14.5-inch mid-length gas M4. We did the same thing. How does that change? Does it scale? Does it not scale? I don't know. Crazy. We'll talk about that in that introductory discussion. And then finally, topic 5, Research Supplement 6169. Nice. Low back pressure 556 silencer performance. Yeah, we put the flow-through versus surge bypass versus PIP versus LBP all against each other. Level playing field. Who's the referee? Physics. That's right. Head-to-head detailed comparisons. And this is members only as a thank you for your support. Who is the king of the hill? What's the quote-unquote best low back pressure technology for a Mark 18? Well, I'm going to find out. Maybe. That's just the intro to that, okay? All right, topic 1, a time of 10 minutes. 39 seconds. All right, 1 second. How am I alive right now? this week, man. Okay, topic 1, sound signature review 6165. The off-grid suppressors Trident TI on 308 bolt action. Yet another silencer company. Another silencer company. They're moving into the space. They're 3D printing. Weird. No, everyone's 3D printing now. So how do these hybrid designs work? Like, did you read it? Did you read the review? You might be getting lost with all these different companies. It's crazy. If I told you that this was going to happen, you would be like, you're crazy. If you told me at the beginning of this year that there would be this many silencer companies releasing products, I probably wouldn't have believed you, to be honest. The industry is expanding at a significant rate to fill an insatiable demand. That's a pretty succinct way to say that, right? I mean, now, if you told me there would be this many new technologies with high performance potential, I probably would have doubted you more, I think. And I was thinking about this. I do concede that I think it's because I was jaded for so long. The very reason that I created Pew Science caused me to become more jaded. That's true. I think probably if you listen to the podcast for a long time, you probably have seen that evolve. I was really jaded when I started this. I think as time has gone on, I think there's like glimmers of hope that have shined through the darkness, and look at the standard now. Look at the silencer sound standard now. It really is incredible what's been created by several companies, right? It's incredible what we've been able to characterize. And without the context of all the legacy stuff we have in here, we wouldn't have the map to see where we're going. And I think everyone's map is getting a little bit higher resolution month to month, right? It's pretty nuts. And that's what I'm seeing, like 10,000 foot view. So this off-grid stuff, right? And I mean Pew Science, we actually saw this technology come to us in a different form some time ago. Okay. And we can tell you that because that's independent of them. We saw this a long time ago. And a lot of times, technologies in the silencer world end up morphing and moving and evolving and da-da-da. And off-grid is its current resting place, and they have done some interesting things with this technology. It's definitely a hybrid design. And I keep using that word, so I want to make sure you understand what I mean when I say it. Hybrid designs take elements of conventional baffle silencer technology and they mix it with high flow rate technology. Why? Well, it's an attempt to balance gas momentum propagation and sound suppression. Excuse me. So what does that mean? Well, we're going to talk about it, okay? And and again, if you listen to the intro, you're in luck, because out of the several things we're publishing today, the Pew Science members get a members-only research supplement comparing some different hybrid technologies to pure flow-through stuff. Okay, but hold your horses. We need to talk about the off-grid stuff first, but stick around because we're going to get to all that too. So these off-grid silencers, they're a little bit unique in that they're direct thread only. Now, sort of like a Hyperion in that way, or maybe like the Q Nelson series, right? The half Nelson and the full Nelson, right? Those are direct thread only silencers that come to mind. Now, these ones from off-grid, they don't have tapered mounts like the Hyperion and the Nelson series. No, these are just regular 90-degree shoulders, okay, direct thread, and that's okay. It's okay, but I really need you to know it and understand it. Some people miss these little things that are important. The Trident model is threaded 5/8 inch diameter, 24 threads per inch, so 5/8, 24 TPI. Okay, so why would that be? Well, that's 7.62 weapons, typical thread diameter and pitch for that. Please keep that in mind. If it were me, I'm just talking to you as me. If it were me, I would use that silencer on 30 caliber firearms. If you really want to use it on 5.56, you could, or you can, and you'll need a thread adapter. If you do choose to do that, which will compromise performance with overbore with this tech, just FYI, if you do choose to do that, please make sure the adapter is concentric to the bore of the barrel and concentric to the silencer, or the bore of the silencer. Okay? You understand what I mean by that? You want to make sure everything's lined up. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to have any strackaroonies. So what makes the technology tick, the off-grid hybrid technology in there? Well, one thing we've seen, and one thing we continue to see, is folks attempting to increase 2 parameters in internal silencer design. They're trying to increase 2 performance parameters, and we've really seen a push the past 5 years. Is it a coincidence that we've been running the research cooperative for the past 5 years? Probably not, but we have noticed it increasing in trend. I mean, I'm sure the trend has continued longer than that, but I will say we've seen an increase over the past half decade during Pew Science research of 2 parametric increases. The first parameter we noticed to be increasing is flow path length. This makes sense. The second parameter we noticed to be increasing is surface area contact. This also makes sense. And I'm describing both of these concepts in very general terms, and I think being vague is okay, because I want you to be really, I was going to say be comfortable, but I want you to just appreciate the basic physical mechanisms and their efficacy. Okay, because the devil's in the details here, but adhering to the basic principles is always paramount. You can't really get away from the basics. Without strong fundamentals is maybe a better word. Without strong fundamentals, you will fail, and that's not just in silencers. Right, at the highest levels, who has the highest levels of sports performance without good fundamentals? Are you going to be Michael Jordan? No, absolutely not. Okay, so don't forget. And that's contrary to what many people will tell you. Contrary to what some people like to say on the internet, designing a really good silencer is difficult. And yes, there can be luck involved. You can get lucky. But just because you get lucky doesn't mean it's magic. It just means you need to get smarter if you want your luck to keep producing golden eggs. You know, how many cliches can I use? I want to do it clearly, though. So that's really something you see. You see this in the off-grid technology, adherence to some basic high-performance principles, and they're using toroidal spirals. I always get tripped up with this word. I want to talk about a toroid, but they're using toroidal. I don't know how I can never say the word toroidal spirals, and that's how they're doing what I described, those 2 and enhancing those 2 parameters. And as a hybrid design, there are some traditional baffle elements, and I mentioned this in the article or the articles. And you know what? If you don't have to take my word for it, you can. If you go see these at a store, you can go look inside the proximal end, and you can see the blast chamber if you want. It's relatively traditional, actually. And I think that's one of the big things to understand about the silencer. In true hybrid fashion, they have, in fact, chosen to reduce some flow rate for the sake of higher suppression. They're robbing Peter to pay Paul. And the balance chosen by the designer with the technology they have at their disposal, it's their choice. It's always their choice, right? Some technologies allow you liberty to have to choose less, right? But some technologies force some compromises. And I think as you continue to study the research, this will become more clear to you as you continue. So what we'll do, to get into this more technically, let's take a look at the off-grid Trident and what it does physically. If you would, pull up Article 6.165. And folks, you got to realize, if you're going to the website midday, there's going to be a bunch of articles after this one because we went ham. So scroll down to 165 on the review page, or get there using the rankings table and searching for off-grid or whatever. If you want to type in off-grid, and if you're not a member, you just want to look at the free article, type in off-grid Trident Pew Science in Google, and it'll come up. Or and you can look at the free version if you want. It's fine. If you want to just follow along with that, although I do always recommend the member version if you're a member. You get the most out of it. So this is the titanium version of the silencer. It's very light. And what is it, 8.8 ounces? I think I told you that last time. There's an Inconel model available as well. It's at least double the weight. So keep that in mind depending on your use. Okay? It's good to understand the density of different materials. Bottom line up front, and keep it, oh, sorry, did I forget to tell you? This is a 308 bolt gun review. Bottom line up front, 31.4 muzzle suppression rating on the 20-inch bolt, 308 bolt action, 1 meter left of the end cap of the silencer, 1.6 meters above the ground in the true free field, away from reflecting surfaces other than the ground. 40.6 shooter's ear suppression rating, 6 inches right of the shooter's right ear. Okay, what does that do? That brings us to a composite suppression rating of 41.4 for this silencer with this ammunition on this weapon system. Okay, so right away, it probably has your attention, I would think, because muzzle suppression ratings entering the 30 zone and an ear suppression rating entering the 40 zone on a full power, full size centerfire rifle cartridge. It's you should look at that, and you can tell that the silencer's doing some work. Okay, because those metrics alone should display that to you if you're familiar with the research so far. So sometimes, when you have a lot of things to look at and a lot of data, it's like this. Let's say you want to interview a new employee for your whatever you work, right? And maybe where you work, you have a lot of applicants. You got a ton of resumes. And there might be superstars, just like everyone's great. Everyone has an MBA or a PhD or, everyone's so good. All their grades are great. They all have nice resumes, and the business cards are like, Patrick Bateman and American Psycho. No, don't hire those people. But anyway, so you have all these traits, and you might get drowned in trying to compare them. So what do people usually do? Well, they kind of almost perform a triage, and they're like, well, we're not even going to look at things until they're above a certain threshold. I've noticed some people sort of do that, and that's okay because everyone does it to save time. So what's one of the things a lot of people do for a 308 bolt gun, just in general, regardless? A lot of people are like, well, I'm not going to go below the 40 zone at the ear because it's not worth my time because there's so many options that are above the 40 zone. I'm not saying you have to do that because you could be using this for a different purpose, but I'm saying muzzle in the 30, in the low at hitting 30 and ear hitting 40, it trips a lot of people's triage bank, their threshold. So let's look at, and that's interesting because this is a hybrid design and it's very light. And one thing I forgot to tell you, it's 1.5 inches in diameter. Okay. And it's a company you've never heard of before. So all these things together, I think a lot of people, some people, they're like, whatever, I don't know who that is, so I'm not going to look at it. It's like, well, Remember, Pew Science we're not a marketing company or a marketing agency. We're a test laboratory. So I urge you, if you want to do, is cover up the brand names and the models and just look at the data and then think about it. It might do you some good. Scroll down past the colorful, pretty graphic that I do in very high-tech software. It's like Microsoft Paint, bro. Keep scrolling down past the table. That's very scary. Numbers are scary. All the way until figure 1A. Okay? All right, these are the data plots. So you look at figure 1 here, figure 1A, figure 1B. So pretty standard blast overpressure blowdown signature you see in figure 1A, yes? Now in figure 1B, you see a zoomed in view in early time. You see incredibly consistent internal combustion. And frankly, that the amplitude of that, it's labeled in the plot, the amplitude of that, as well as the frequency, it does kind of make sense when you look inside the silencer. And I think you're really going to see that. And if you really want to get deep in this, go to the Off-Grid website. There's a link in our article. They have a cutaway of the silencer. I'm pretty sure it's still there. I haven't been there today, but if you go to their website, I think they still have a cutaway view on there to look at. When you see the first couple jet, it seems reasonable. And yes, you see some early FRP, yes, but an interesting part of that phenomenon is that it's not that extreme in totality. You get this jetting that just builds to a higher amplitude later in time, and again, that's noted in the plot. It's like you have this initial couple jet, and you do slowly build. That's okay. And so, before we move into the impulse waveforms, just describing this in like general terms and just looking at the very early time signature of the overpressure 1 meter left of the muzzle, it's clearly not a super high flow rate silencer. Clearly not, right? I mean, the flow rate's not really low, but already in the signature, you're seeing signs of you're not seeing signs of super fast particle velocity. You can't be. Because what are you seeing early on? Well, you're seeing throttling. You're seeing the throttling early on. So when you do move to the blast momentum transfer potential, when you do move to impulse in figure 2, and you really get a good picture of that. And it's pretty standard, really. And actually it's really, really controlled. And again, you can see the FRP divergence. You can see it's a fancy word for saying you can see the first round pop blast momentum diverge from the typical path of the subsequent shots. So I just use the shorthand word divergence because it's like, I don't know, it's what it means and it's fast. So you look at that. You look at the FRP divergence. And something to look at here that we really thought was interesting is that the rate of FRP accumulation and the momentum stall and the plateau at the peak amplitude is all pretty similar from shot to shot. Now, however they tweaked this design is very consistent, it's very repeatable, and it does deal with FRP in a pretty efficient way, I think, for the design. I think it does. I mean, that's what the data shows. I think that for the gross flow rate, it's doing a really excellent job. Now, this does have some distal vents. So there's a larger distal vent area than just from the axial bore. Okay? So you have at least, I think there's 4. You have at least 4 small vent holes that kind of flank the exit there. And, you see that, or right away you're like, well, they're trying to maintain flow rate throughout the stack through the distal end. And so you see that, and usually when you see extra venting like that, and then you see impulse waveforms like this, it's you would make the determination objectively that it's controlling gas momentum dump in a good way. And I think it's admirable. Now, is the blast baffle more restricted than it could have been maybe? I mean, possibly. I'm not the designer. I mean, it's just something I see in it. Now, what would happen if you vented the blast baffle more? Well, I'm not sure. Would you lose some efficiency with this design? Maybe. Would you require more stages and you have to ramp up the complexity a little bit if you did that? Maybe. But right now, the performance is pretty strong as is on this host, so we'll move on. But I just wanted to see I wanted to tell you about some things I noticed inside. And after looking at the data, and that's just something I look at, and I thought it was interesting. So if you are a member, a PewScience member, please take a look at the shooter's ear signatures. Check out that impulse plateau. Let me scroll down, because I'm in the member article too right now. Yeah. Look at the impulse plateau and the shooter's ear signatures if you're a member. Very interesting. And frankly, a direct translation from the muzzle signatures in this one, which is not always the case. And this is really good. This is really, really clean data, yeah? Really clean performance conclusion here. I think you have great consistency. I think, again, for the flow rate and the weight and the size of this thing, I think, remember, 1.5 inches in diameter. I think for the whole package, this thing is really doing some great work, and this is on a bolt gun. Okay, really impressive showing here, all things considered. I think, honestly, and I don't know a lot about the company, but I think you might be sleeping on these silencers. If you don't at least consider them. If you're in the silencer industry and you're like, we don't... Those just crazy. It's like, I don't know. It looks like this technology is a lot different than some other technologies, and it looks like it has a high degree of efficacy. So don't sleep on it. That would be my opinion of the 10,000 foot view. If I was in the silencer industry making silencers, I would pay attention. Okay, 1 second. I'm not saying it's a world beater, but it's also not a K baffle. That's an old silencer nerd joke. What I want to do, let's do this. I want to talk about how this stacks up to some of the competition. And yes, there are charts in the article, but I want to echo some stuff I wrote in there. So what did I write? I wrote some stuff. Oh yeah. So just so everyone is aware, it's a new company, right? New technology, mostly. And it's quieter than a lot of stuff that's been on the market for a long time. And I know some people are like, well, don't talk about the old stuff. It's like, well, again, if you don't know history, you will be doomed to repeat the history. And a lot of this old, quote unquote, old stuff is sold and people are buying them all the time. So what does the off-grid Trident outperform? Well, let's go down the list. Polonium 30, Banish 30, Omega, Harvester, Nomad, Salmon S, Rugged Radiant, Trash Panda. Do you recognize some of the names? Yeah, right? So some of those are PewScience clients. Some aren't, I mean, at least, yeah, Sensor Central and Otter Creek. Yeah, so, it's beating some of those. Okay. Now, I mean, when you look at this, remember the Diligent Defense Enticer S, remember? It's pretty close to performance to this, and it's pretty light too, which is like a pretty good comparative point, right? But what does the Diligent Defense Enticer S have? Super high back pressure. This one doesn't. See what I mean? So you see, really, this is not just a random silencer that's kind of doing okay. This is hitting with some major players, and frankly, if you look in modern competition, the off-grid Trident is holding its own. Is it the quietest? No. Is it the most advanced? Certainly not. But I think it's certainly classified as high performance, especially for the size and weight. Flow rate's high enough, due to using a hybrid technology. I would call it more advanced than a lot of silencers I just mentioned. And I think that's a very objective way of looking at this, and I think it's a fair way to look at it. Okay, I'm telling it like it is. Okay, now when you really you want to get really into this, you want to really say something controversial. I think it's doing a lot of stuff that's similar to the HUXWRX Flow-762 Ti. But huge caveat here is that the Flow, that's Flow 762, is probably going to have a better operator experience on semi-autos for people, right? Flow rate's just so dang high on the Flow model. Different sport, really, okay? But look at the thing on the bolt gun, and the bolt gun is like, that's interesting. Is that a thing that makes the Trident look good, or the thing that makes the Flow 762 look good because of what it does in semi-autos? Yeah, I see. You see how depending on your point of view and your proclivities, you could really you could tell a story in a different way. So you got to be careful. So stay objective. You know what I mean? But when you start to compare, just stick to the facts, and it'll do you well. Now, I do think this overall is interesting because you have a lot of hybrid technologies in the industry now. You do, and you have a lot of hybrid technologies in the silencer sound standard. Okay, you got Surefire, Silencer Co., CAT. 4 systems. That's another new one. So there's a lot going on, and a lot of the models are getting advanced. Some of them with better performance than others. There's never, you can't win them all. There's always gonna be something quieter. There's always gonna be something that flows faster. You're never gonna be there's, you know what I mean? There's always something coming. Okay, no one stays on the top of the hill for forever. Okay, now hold that thought. But I think it's going to be good to see how this off-grid stuff does with semi-autos. Like in the long run, like when people start buying them, I'm interested to see what you put them on. And their 556 model is smaller than this one. And just real quick, so I can, because I haven't really talked, you know what I didn't do? I didn't talk really a lot about its physical characteristics. So I told you it's 8.8 ounces titanium, right? 1.5 inch diameter. It's 8 inches long, but it's a direct thread. So if you put it on the gun, it's not like you're adding length for the mount because the mount's inside it. So that's a pretty big deal for the package. And the outside of it's kind of textured. It's easy to kind of turn. It does have wrench flats on it, so you can really crank it if you need to because it is direct thread and you don't have a locking mount. That's important. So you look at the size class, and it's doing things that typically a silencer of this size and diameter just simply doesn't do. And then you say, well, okay, well, can I put it on 5.6? It's like, well, I wouldn't really like. They have something called the operator, which is titanium, the one we tested, but they also have an Inconel version of that. They have Inconel and titanium versions of all these silencers. The operator version is dedicated 5.56, and so they shrink from 8 inches down to I want to say around 6.5. Same 1.5 inch diameter, and they threaded at half 28, and then we tested that on the Mark 18. So we just talked about how the hybrid technology does in pure suppression performance, right? The pure suppression potential with pure gas dynamics from one origin. That's a bolt gun test, 308. Well, we're in the fortuitous position of also doing that, or also evaluating the technology with semi-automatic weapon with the different model. And we'll look at that in the next topic. Okay, topic 2 at a time of 37 minutes and 38 seconds. Okay, perfect. Okay, one moment. Okay, topic 2, sound signature review 6166, the off-grid suppressors operator TI on the Mark 18, the standard 10.3 inch SBR. So again, dedicated 5.56. Same hybrid technology, tweaked a little bit for 5.56, different model. How does it behave in the semi-auto use? Is the juice worth the squeeze? That's not even the right term. How does it do? I'm so tired. Okay, so this is a really good test. Really good analytical test report, if I do say so myself. I am glad we did this silencer on semi-auto to complement the 7.62 model on the bolt gun. That's good. So. I really do think these 2 articles give you a really good idea of how this technology performs. Frankly, guys, having these 2 articles published is definitely a window into how it works. In totality, you pretty much know everything once you. I think. If I design silencers, I would look at these articles. So you know the details: direct thread, titanium. It's very light. Inconel model is probably twice the weight. So this one's like 15.5. No. This one's 8.4 ounces. The Inconel model will be 15.5, so twice. So it's like half a pound in titanium, a pound Inconel nickel alloy. Okay, fair enough. This one's shorter, 6.6 inches long, but again, with a built-in native direct thread mount. Keep that in mind when you compare the lengths to other things. Now, one second. Man, my voice. Oh man, we got way more topics too. I'm running out of gas. Voice gas. Wait, what? So what members can do, and this is just something you can do, you can look at the tested lengths and weights in the member visualization tool in the member ranking section. If you go to the member rank, not the public ranking section, the member ranking section, scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, past the table, and you get to, there's a chart, a visual chart, and then you can filter on different stuff and look at it visually, and it'll help you. Check that out. So this is full power intermediate rifle cartridge. Mark 18 SBR, 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO. 10.3 inch barrel. Bottom line up front, 36.9 muzzle suppression rating in the free field. 25.6 shooter's ear suppression rating, 6 inches right at the shooter's right ear. Okay. You're still in the 20 zone at the ear. Okay. But you're in the mid-20s. Okay. Still dangerous. Still dangerous. But it's not like it's 15 or like 19. It's still dangerous, but it's not like you're 15 or 19 or something. Like, you're like, what? Like, it's trying. Now, mid-20s. Let's just kind of get this out of the way. Mid-20s on the standard untuned gun means at least something is happening there with regard to flow rate increase and ejection port blast load reduction, assuming the muzzle blast is kind of tamed. At least something's going on. I think we have enough data now to where you can kind of see the trend. Okay? The muzzle suppression rating is very strong here. So, and I made a comment about that earlier. Remember my earlier comment in the previous topic about how designer's choice and balancing flow rate with suppression with certain technologies can pan out differently, right? You know how certain technologies can make you choose more than others, and certain technologies allow you to compromise less. You know, some make you compromise more, stuff like that. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about here. Clearly the choice here was to balance the bias towards suppression instead of early time flow rate. Because again, look at the blast baffle. Okay? See, I'm just telling you this just by looking at the suppression ratings. Guys, we have so much data and analysis now. We're quick with it, with the quickness, right? The conclusions you can draw are so incredibly powerful. I'm very proud of this, and I'm very excited for all of you to be able to do this. You can do this. It's free. It's right here. Let's dig into it. Scroll down past all of the things that scare people, very much so, and then go to figure 1. Okay, data plots. Blast overpressure signature measured in the free field, 1 meter left of the end cap, 1.6 meters above the ground, away from all reflecting surfaces other than the ground. Very similar to what you just saw on 308 bolt action, isn't it? Isn't that crazy? And that was a different silencer model. Huh. Why? Why is it like similar? Oh, I don't know. The technology? Is it the same technology? The fingerprint's similar, turns out. Weird. It's almost like the data's real. It's wild. Oh my God. Like look at the early time combustion. Look at figure 1B. Look how similar it is. It's a different silencer, but it has the same technology, and it looks similar. It's a different gun, different silencer, same technology. Why is the fingerprint so similar? Are they related? Yeah. Similar internal combustion that changes due to bore and size, yes. Similar coupled jetting, similar early FRP divergence, similar positive phase production before the pronounced rarefaction. It's similar. Look at them. Overlay them if you want. I don't care. Look at them. When you move to blast momentum transfer potential, when you move to the impulse in figure 2, that's when you see something very interesting. Now you're seeing something a little different. But the consistency is wild here. It's even more consistent, extremely consistent gas momentum here. Yeah, you do. Look, you have some FRP to deal with. You can't hide that. It's right there. True. It's real. Can't hide it. It's there. Okay. Mark 18 does giveth, and the Mark 18 taketh away. We know. But I tell you what, that post-FRP consistency, boy, howdy, look at that, dude. I tell you what, look, those impulse plots are right on top of each other, bro. Look, until that peak plateau, and then, but really, look at the plateau. Dude, it's throttling pretty good. It's doing pretty good. This hybrid design, this hybrid design from off-grid, I think it has a high degree of efficacy. I mean, that's what we're seeing in the data. And I will say something that, look, I think I can say this. I will, because I'm not going to go into specifics, but I found out something after the test program was complete. And we after we had already delivered the results to off-grid, there was a lot of iteration done in this design, and I was actually shown some of the iteration. So I can't show you, but I did see it. And it's really cool to see how the final product shapes up. And you can tell this was definitely thought about. You simply don't get that type of consistency without being careful. If you did, we would see it more. But it's not common. So we don't see it more. Okay? And I think that's cool. Okay? I think the FRP control could use some improvement if I had some constructive criticism here. And maybe, you know what? And that might be, and I just spitballing here, it might be a length-dependent phenomenon with this certain technology. Maybe. Not sure. Topic for a later date. I don't know. You know, you turn one knob, another knob shifts. Turns out silencers are hard. Especially when you try to make high-performance ones. There's no free lunch, and you really just gotta. There's what's a better way? There's no shortcut. I think that's a better way to say it. There's no shortcuts, guys. It's crazy. I think one of the big things here, though, and something we did mention a lot in the article, the operator silencer, like that Trident silencer, they're not flow-through. I'm gonna keep saying this, and I think if I say it enough, people start to learn it. They're not flow-through silencers. I know everyone and their mom wants to say they have a flow-through silencer, and I know you want to say it. I know you think you have one, but you don't have one. HUXWRX is the only one that does have one, and since they called it that first and trademarked the dang name of it, and the other silencers don't work like theirs work, you can't call other silencers flow-through silencers and be correct. You can say it, but you're wrong. And if you want to be wrong, that is your right. But don't pretend you're right. You know what I'm saying? And guys, it's not about like trademark and like lawsuits and legal whatever. It's not about that at all. To me, it's not. I don't care. I'm saying physically in the test data, in the waveforms, in our analysis, nothing does what the HUXWRX Flow-Through does except the HUXWRX Flow-Through. And guys, I'm here to tell you that's both good and bad. It's both good and bad. And if you think Pew Science has any bias or any preference toward HUXWRX or Flow-Through stuff, I encourage you, be careful with that conclusion. Do some digging throughout the historical podcast episodes and the research articles, because we have been one of the most critical voices of flow-through technology in the entire silencer industry for 5 years running. Okay, so I just want to nip that in the bud right now, just in case there's weirdos out there. There are awesome things and not so awesome things about flow-through, and boy howdy are people going to learn that today, actually, too. In our public and member research publications today, you're going to see that, and I'm bringing that up now early. I'm bringing it up now in this topic because this off-grid operator, this article, it does reference HUXWRX stuff, because if you're going to produce a hybrid design, you are going to call it higher flow rate, and if you're going to try to mimic some of those traits, you simply have to. You have to have that comparison front and center. You have to. We compare and contrast these features, and we give the technical parameters in the article that differ between the signatures of the two technologies in this article. Okay, like in the off-grid operator article. If you have an itch to see that, if you really want to understand, if you're one of those people who are like, no, it's high flow rate, it's flow through. 140 dB, if you're one of those guys, which is fine, free country, free world. I don't care. But if you really want to understand it, go check out the article. Because what changes? What changes when you move from flow through to a hybrid design? Well, in this case, you get longer blowdown. You get less decoupling of ground reflection. You get a shorter initial positive phase. You get peak pressure accumulation in later time. You get later time impulse accumulation, right? So what is that in totality? Several definitive, quantitative, objective changes to the signature. So all of it's real, all of it's meaningful, it all matters, and it all changes what you hear. So that's the end. Okay? I don't want to say these things and you think I'm just like using some kind of marketing words. If I was trying to sell you silencers, I would sell silencers. For 5 years. We haven't been doing that. We're showing you the good and the bad. Okay? So this operator, they came to us to test it. We tested it. Look, this stuff's doing work. This operator TI from Off-Grid, it is competing with the WB, the SCI6, the RC2, the Torch, the Polonium, the BDE556. You look at all these competing silencers on the market team. And yeah, the WB, yeah, of course, it's the most balanced and crazy for the size, yes. But the SCI6 and the Torch, they're balanced too. They're balanced designs. Now, those are all hybrid designs. They're all hybrid designs. You see a theme, Now, the Legacy RC2, the Polonium, that BDE, that PWS stuff, not advanced enough to really be as balanced, is it? So there's levels to the game. I mean, the RC2 was ahead of its time, but let's be honest, it's old. Still good, old. There are levels to the game. The off-grid stuff is definitely not. It's not like swinging with old tech. It's swinging with modern tech. It is modern technology. It has high performance potential. We see it's physically viewable. You can view it. If you don't shoot it, go look at the data. It's measured. Don't even look at the suppression rating. Look at the waveforms. Look at the behavior. You know enough now. This has high performance potential objectively. And if you're a member and you want to look at the member portion of this article with the shooter's ear data, look at the FRP backloading, please. And if you're not a member, you don't know what I'm talking about, and someday you'll be a member and you will. What happens with this silencer? You simply have too much ejection port blast. You do. Why? Alpha's too low. Yep. See what I mean? You're not ramping up the flow rate fast enough. Is it bad? No, because you can tune your gun. But what I'm saying is there's no way this is a flow-through silencer. You see what I mean? See what I mean, Jelly Bean? It's if you were to call this a flow-through silencer, and then if you went to the member article and looked at figure 4B, how would you reconcile your statement with that figure? You wouldn't, because you'd be wrong. See, I'm not giving you an opinion. I'm giving you hard data. And that's not proprietary, my friends. That figure. There's no excuse anymore for you to say things like that. Understand? It's it, man. That's all she wrote. You understand? And if you don't understand, you will. On the Mark 18, flow-through silencers simply will not do what you see in figure 4B of this article. And we're going to talk about that again today. Next topic, I think, but it's only the intro. So, but good narrative in this off-grid member section, though. I would encourage you, if you are a member, check out that section, because you'll learn something. And I don't know I think most of the members have kind of tuned in and seen that stuff. If you haven't, you might be missing something important. It's topical for modern technology discussion on the Mark 18. It really, and frankly, on all suppressing AR-15s. I don't know why everyone's so intent on suppressing an AR-15. Oh, maybe because it's really loud and it's really common. Yeah. So go check out the article. There's a lot of comparisons. There are charts. Text has a lot of comparisons, especially in the last section before the summary. And I think it's important technically, even if you're not interested in these sounds, even if you don't care about off-grid, the more you learn about these technologies, the better your expectations are going to be calibrated. Okay? The more you can call out BS on the marketing gobbledygook you see from people, man. It's crazy what people are saying. We've pulled the curtain back, and I don't know. I haven't done the exact research because it's probably like super cringe. But like if you went and If you went and like tried to see like how many people are calling silencers Hollywood quiet, that's decreased. I think that's decreased. So all in all, tremendous showing by Off-Grid. Tremendous. Titanium or Inconel, direct thread only for simplicity, wrench flats to get them snug, not too heavy, balanced performance, tune the gun, probably do pretty good. New company, new tech, strong showing. Hope it did them justice. I mean, it's good, and it's so topical. It just technically, like, forget about it. Like I told you, remove their company name and remove the product name. Okay, and just look at the data, look at the analysis. Pretend you don't know who it is or what it is. And then you'll step back and look at this and you say, what a great time to enter the game, particularly at the current point in our research progression. Because it's slotting right in. It's merging on the freeway. And everyone's going 80 miles an hour bumper to bumper because it's Houston. And they're like, yeah, it's like that. Big thanks to Off-Grid for trusting the Pew Science Laboratory to perform this work. It has been a pleasure. Okay. Speaking of research progression, are you ready to see something crazy? Oh, are you ready? Are you ready? Oh man, I was like thinking of all like these crazy sayings. I don't know, I was talking with a guy earlier today about like Macho Man Randy Savage and like all the like crazy the stuff he would say. Guy was great. Yeah, I'm ready to see some crazy stuff too. Let's continue this episode. I'm running out of steam. Let's move into some HUXWRX stuff in topic 3. At a time of 56 minutes and 23 seconds. Very good. Okay, 1 second. Topic 3. Oh no. Let me just pull it up really quick because I'm not quite done. It's so late and there's so much to do. Topic 3. Sound Signature Review 6167. The HUXWRX Flow-556 Ti on the Mark 18. Yeah, you guys saw the HXQD series like back in the day from us. You saw the whole series. Then you saw the Flow-556K. Then you saw the Flow-762 Ti. And now this is the newest full-size dedicated 556 silencer from HUXWRX. That's right. Intro discussion. And again, and let me emphasize that this is only an intro topic, and that is good because we have 2 more topics after this, and we're running out of time. So I want to do it justice. I want to tell you, I am very excited to publish this research. That is a genuine statement. And no matter how tired I am freaking stoked. This is truly, and I consider this to be a 3-article publication, 2 of which are, as shown on the website, are partially funded by HUXWRX under contract. This article and then the M4 article in the next topic, yes. The 3rd article, 100% member funded, and I think it sort of puts a bow on the whole thing, which I'm very pleased to. I didn't know if I was going to have enough time to get it done. We got it done. So, and I did something a little different, and we actually thought that member research was so important, and the conclusions of this entire thing and the whole, I told we put a bow on it, right? I thought the present was so important that I placed a research caption at the top of the Mark 18 article, and I'm actually calling it a research caution. I'm putting a research caution, and I'm putting exclamation points before and after the words like they do in foreign countries to make you read it. And if you don't read this, and I hear anything that would have been prevented by you reading it, ooh, that's a paddling. That's a paddling. You see the Simpsons episode with the old guy, and he's like talking about getting spanked, corporal punishment when you're in school. No, I really wanted to nip some things in the bud here with this article series. And I think for years we've shown in our research how flow-through silencers behave. We've published more research on flow-through technology than anyone in the world, and lately, I think people have forgotten that only looking at the big number at the top of the page in our articles, it's going to get you into trouble real quick. Same thing goes for you guys that just go to the ranking section. And you don't look at the research, it's going to get you in big trouble. and you're going to go down roads that are just not right. And so hopefully today you're all of you in the world are going to get a really big reminder. And there's enough text in this article to create a new alphabet. Wrote so many damn words in it, and I don't know how many words it is, but it's not normal. It wasn't reasonable. It's not a reasonable publication. It's ridiculous. Article 6167. But I think it's important, and I was very careful. This is the full-size Flow 556 silencer from HUXWRX. This is not the Flow 556K. This is also not the Flow 762 Ti. This is the Flow 556 Ti. Take a Flow 762 Ti, make it dedicated 556, shrink the bore, optimize the internals. What do you get? Well, you get one of the highest efficiency designs in the pedigree, and that's doing amazing things. And ladies and gentlemen, in the free field, you're cracking numbers here on the Mark 18 you haven't seen. I promise. Now, are there caveats? Oh, you bet your butt, man. There's caveats coming out of your ears. There's caveats, and I just got through telling you how long the article is. There were a significant amount of man hours spent on this. Okay? The next article and the research supplement. Dude, I'm telling you right away. If anyone buys a Flow 556 Ti or shoots a Flow 556 Ti and they read all this research and is in any way disappointed in what happens, it is their fault. Like, that's on you. There is literally no stone left unturned here. I don't even know. Everything you want to know about the Flow 556 Ti is in this series. Everything. We couldn't even give you any more. So you ask, well, is it quiet? Well, loaded question, bro. Loaded question. Is the suppression rating high on the Mark 18? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But this is just the intro topic. So I'm not going to go, balls deep yet. Okay, so remember, and I really do want you to be cognizant. Remember in the early days of the research, in the early days of the podcast where we had significant doubts, and let's just when I had significant doubts about the efficacy of the flow-through technology. I mean, it's public record. It's been there for years. Remember? So I was like, they're going to have to do way more. And we talked about it technically, right? Then remember how we procured and tested and analyzed and published a significant amount of OSS data? Remember? And then remember how HUXWRX noticed that? Like independently, they saw it and then they became a client because they were like, wow, they're actually characterizing our stuff. And then we kept doing it, remember? And then like it was wild, right? So for all of you who have followed this thing, like from the beginning, did you notice any trends? Like, did you notice any trends from the beginning to like now? I mean, well, I can tell you right now, it's a public trend that has been shown by Pew Science for 5 years. One trend is that the flow-through technology didn't get worse. It didn't get less good. And I think today you're going to see how far they've come doing it. And I think that's a big deal. And I'm honored that we're the ones to show you. And I think people who own this thing are going to probably echo everything in the article because it's all right. It's awesome. Okay, but remember, there's caveats. And also, and I don't mean to be negative because I'm not, but I'm being realistic, and I'm a researcher too, so I'm going to start to ask questions, and I'm going to start to make you ask questions both to me and to yourself and your family. I don't know, you probably talked about this with your family, right? Are we starting to see a point of diminishing returns? Just how hard has HUXWRX squeezed the lemon with this technology? Do we have a window into that? Can we look at that? Can we look and see if there's a point of diminishing returns? Can we start to answer the question? And I think for one thing, we actually do know how the pressure sensitivity is stacking up. We do know how input pressure will vary performance. And how am I able to talk about that? Let's go to the next topic. Let's go to the next topic. You already know. You just don't know. You know. Topic 4 at a time of 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 56 seconds. We're doing it. Topic 4, sound signature review 6168, the HUXWRX Flow-Through Ti. This time, instead of on the Mark 18 with a 10.3-inch barrel, we moved to the 14.5-inch mid-length gas M4A1R3 SBR AR-15. How does the performance of a HUXWRX flow-through technology scale with longer barrels in the supersonic ammunition combustion regime? Okay, let's talk about that in this intro. 1 second. Okay, it's a great question. So it's like some of you are like, oh, like it's like you thought we forgot about the M4, didn't you? It's like, oh, why does he never publish the 4? Pew Science never does. They're always publishing bolt guns, and the Mark 18 is terrible. It's like, see, well, that's not true. I know some folks have been very emotionally upset that we haven't published more M4 data. I get it. I'm joking with you, but I do concede it's understandable to be upset about that. But you also have to realize the M4 is a very unforgiving host, and you might not like the answers. What happens? What happens when a Flow 556 Ti is put on this gun? Do you think the operator is safer or less safe than with an untuned Mark 18? What do you think? Like in the free field, what do you think? Is it common sense? Is it, well, duh, it's a longer barrel, it's gonna be quieter, bro. Well, do you realize how overgassed the M4 A1 R3 mid-length gas 14.5-inch barrel AR-15 from Daniel Defense is? That upper receiver assembly that we bought? We have 2 of them. We've tested multiple. We just eliminate variables. Do you realize how overgassed the Daniel Defense host is? Do you think it's awesome? These are all questions. The answer is it's overgassed. It's a mid-length gas system, but dude, Daniel Defense, I don't know why they did it. I'm not them, but they decided to use a certain gas port size, and here we are. And it's not just 1 upper, it's not just 2 uppers. It's all of them. 0.076 diameter gas port, mid-length gas. Okay, cool. That's what they did, and it's a standard test house, so here we are. Okay, so there's some foreshadowing for you. How much do you think low back pressure silencers do when you overgas your gun? Is it going to be miracle time? Super happy fun magic time that takes an overgassed gun and makes it not overgassed? Is that, are we talking about super duper crystal ball magic from the ether? Read the article. Go read the article, guys. Okay. Remember. Okay. What else? What else is a problem? Remember how when we tested HUXWRX silencers and they were pretty loud with subsonic rounds because the blast pressures and the durations were really low, and we talked about it ad nauseum, and there's tons of research published about it. Remember that? You can go read about it. We did that. Now, what happens when you lower your muzzle input pressure by increasing the length of your barrel by 40%? Would the same phenomenology to the behavior of the silencer apply in this case? Is it subsonic? No. Are we reducing pressure input? Not to the same degree, but we certainly are reducing pressure input. Are you going to drop the efficiency in the silencer from the Mark 18 case? Go look at this article and see. Go look at the M4 article and see. Okay? This is good research. HUXWRX technology does offer a very high level of protection for the operator. It really does. That's factual. You cannot argue that. That is objectively true. The research shows it. Third-party research shows it. Okay? That's what we are. We're a third-party lab. We've shown, and that's why HUXWRX contracted with us to be their independent test lab, because we were doing this before they were a client showing what no one else was showing, because they knew it was right. They're like, oh, there's finally someone showing it. Yeah. Doesn't mean it's all roses. That's why they contracted with us, because we tell the truth. The good and the bad, remember? I think folks that use the HUXWRX silencers know all this. I think they know how they work. I think it's great to understand it. I think from a system optimization standpoint, and from looking at how things vary in different environments, I think it's actually good to understand this in a little deeper way, though. I think even the folks that have HUXWRX silencers might want to know. So I want to say something right now, and this is from the heart. The last thing I want, the last thing that Pew Science wants, is people to be misled by our research or somehow miss major conclusions that could impact the user experience down the road or whatever. Okay? We try really, really hard to make sure we reiterate conclusions again and again and again. Okay? So to that end, you supporting members, you were due. You were due for something, and it took a while. But I think the article in the next topic, it's going to be very useful for you. This should complete your understanding of flow-through technology. It should complete your understanding, at least on rifle. Okay? Frankly, you should know about it in all regimes from all the research, but let's be generous. This should complete your understanding how the flow-through technology works and how low back pressure silencers compare on the Mark 18. Okay? Everyone wants to make a low back pressure silencer until it's time to start doing low back pressure silencer things. Right? All right. You think it's easy? Cool. Next topic at a time of 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 40 seconds. It's close enough. I don't know if it's because it's late or it's been a 100-hour week and it's Wednesday, or I'm getting tired of everyone calling their silencer low back pressure and oh, it's so great. We're going to put an end to that 1 second. Didn't you hear the silencer? It's so low back pressure. It sounds so good. Topic 5, member research supplement 6169. Nice. Low back pressure 556 silencer performance. Flow through. Surge bypass. PIP. LBP. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know, there's the QDC, the PRT. Didn't put that in there. Why? It's loud. That's why. Louder than this stuff. We'll put it in there eventually, I guess, but this is the introductory discussion. What, you want to talk about the king of the hill or not? You got to cut it off somewhere, right? What did I say earlier in the episode with the resumes? You got to have a triage. You got to cut up. Everyone has a 4.0. Cool. Who has a PhD? Oh, everyone has a PhD. Cool. Who can bench 300? Pick a metric, bro. You can't hire everybody. So it turns out making good low back pressure silencers is really hard. It turns out copying and pasting things and ending up with an efficient, lightweight, advanced, high-level protection design is hard. It takes a lot of smarts or years of testing, or both. Probably both. So who's doing it the best? Everyone wants to argue all the time. All the time. And they want to call people names. They want to call companies names. They want to say bad things about people, test labs and companies and all kinds of stuff. Cool. Who's doing it the best and what does best mean? And if you put all of these things side by side and you really looked at what they're actually doing, if you really looked at it and if you really looked what they're actually doing to your ears, and if you really looked at why you're hearing what you're hearing, what would you see? What conclusions could you draw? What actual physics and what actual human physiology would you see happening if you actually did the research, if you actually did the testing, if you actually did the mathematical calculations? What would you see? What would your conclusions be? I'll tell you what you would see. You would see exactly what we've been showing you for years and exactly what we showed you in Member Research Supplement 6103 and 115 and 124.
And now you have 169. Okay? And all you Pew Science members, I practice what I preach here. You get all of it. You get, what are you going to get? You can get 3 latest generation HUXWRX Flow silencers, not this HXQD crap. You're getting the 3 Flow models, the Flow 556K, the Flow 762 Ti, and the Flow 556 Ti. And I didn't mean to call the other stuff crap, but you know what I meant. You get the Cat WB, you get the PTR Vent 3, and you get the Sancerco Velos LBP. Alphabet soup yet? Get used to it. You're getting them all head-to-head. The same playing field, head-to-head. You get to see their first-round pop on the Mark 18 exactly in excruciating detail. And you're going to see all of their signatures in ways that many of you have not seen. Some of you members, this is going to be old hat to you. That's cool. But most importantly, I think, for a lot of you, you're going to see exactly why certain people say certain silencers sound the way they do. I'm tired of the speculation. So now you're going to get them all at once. So now you can argue all you want, but then you can look at the data and then you can say, oh, well, that makes sense. Oh, yes, I know. If you've ever heard someone say, yes, but it has a good tone. Oh, that sounds higher pitched. Or I like it, but my buddy likes this one. Or my buddy says that's loud, but I think it sounds good. You're about to find out exactly why that happens with what silencers. And what's the really great thing about this that's like, I don't know, going to put to rest all the craziness. These are all low back pressure models, and they're all the ones that are really, really good. Yeah, they're all really good. And now what did you do? You took what do you do in like sports when, I don't know, you're creating a tournament? Do you have like the lowest seed teams play each other in the finals? No, you have the best ones. Super Bowl, baby. Okay, so what did we not do? Because this is a low back pressure article. What did we not do? Well, what we didn't do this time is we didn't put the gas traps in here to show how dangerous they are to the shooter and embarrass them. No, this time we took the things with the highest shooter's ear suppression ratings on the Mark 18, and we decided to show you exactly how they differ. Okay, I hope it helps. It has to. This has to help. I don't know how it couldn't. This is like, no one's ever shown you this ever. So it's got to help you. And what do I want you to know right up front? And shout it from the rooftops. And because some people like to repeat what they think I say. Okay, I'll give you a quote. The AR-15 is super dangerous. Is that okay? A shooter's ear suppression rating in the low 30s is super loud. Stop thinking it's quiet. Okay? It's dangerous. Look at the suppression rating chart. Be careful. Okay? This is 5 years, guys. It's 2024. It's almost end of October. Nothing has changed with Pew Science since the beginning. Same data, same analysis. Okay? It's dangerous. The AR-15 is dangerous. Be careful. No one told you it was quiet. No one from Pew Science. Be careful. If you have any friends or colleagues or internet acquaintances or whatever that have ever told you that they doubt our testing and analysis of low back pressure silencers, especially HUXWRX, this article's for them, bro. Like, and if you can be skeptical about this comprehensive research if you want, like, that's cool. If you want to dog it, but then you got to spend $8, dude. Spend $8. Put your money where your mouth is. $8. Read it. Yeah. I put mine here. I put mine on the table. You put yours on the table. Let's compare. Right? Put your money where your mouth is, man. $8. If I was interested in these silencers, I'd read it. I'm telling you, man. This is it. Not available anywhere else in the world. This is the definitive. This is the answer. This is the answer. That's it. They're all great. All these silencers are great. But if you want to argue about them, use this. because it's right. Okay, I want you to be. I'm serious. Those of you who've been here from the beginning, why do we do Pew Science? I want you to be happy. I want you to be happy with your science or knowledge. I want your expectations to be reasonable. This is so important. I want your expectations to be reasonable. You don't have to have the quietest thing all the time, but I want you to know what you're getting, and I don't want you to misunderstand the test results. So that's what this is for. Okay? This research directly goes toward our primary mission. We do not work for the silencer companies. We work for the consumer. Can the silencer companies contract with us to do testing? Yes. But who benefits from that? Who uses the silencers? You do. Okay, so Pew Science members, you did this. Thank you. Couldn't do it without you. We will talk technically about the Flow 556 Ti on next week's podcast. Go check out all the articles today. You have 3 new things to read. It'll take you a long time. Get a beer. It's going to be wild. Please read the Mark 18 article first. That's a humdinger. Trust me. Okay, enjoy. I will talk with you folks again soon. All right, bye.